What is up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the InnovationYGO podcast. On today's episode, I will definitely be going over 5 things likely to happen on the next Yu-Gi-Oh ban list. But it probably won't happen, but these are things I would like to happen, and based on how the game of Yu-Gi-Oh have been going the past couple of months, I think these things are the most likely to happen. So let's get into it. Like I always tell you guys, without further ado, let's begin. Starting off by saying, I'm just gonna shoot straight into the video and say Trick Stars likely to get hit on the next ban list. Now, the next Yu-Gi-Oh ban list is probably gonna come sometime post the World Championships, which happens next month in August. Expect a recap video for that, by the way. So I love doing the World Championship recaps and predictions. But anyway, Trick Stars have been a deck that has wrecked the meta for the past 6 months to a year. Reincarnation is a big problem. That's most likely the candidate to get hit if I was to pick one per se. Banishing your opponent's hand, the Droll and Lockbird combo, and other things like we have cards like Card of Destruction ban, but not that card ban. It's just a lot to consider moving forward another format with that deck, especially since decks like Trickstar Sky Strikers, which is one of the best decks of the format, arguably speaking, if not the best deck of the format, even though Galki kicked it in his butt, Trickstars as a whole are just way too consistent for what they can do. And with our new end-of-match procedures for Yu-Gi-Oh, Trickstars are definitely something I can see getting hit. I mean, getting burn damage, reincarnation, the works. So yeah, man, if you guys are looking to pick up decks for the next format, post the World Championship qualifier, going into the new regional season, I would definitely just dump your Trickstar decks just to be on a safe route. Number 4, Sky Striker not touched. Now, when it comes down to things likely to happen on the next Yu-Gi-Oh ban list, I'm thinking Sky Strikers is a deck that will escape the ban list. Reason being, every year with the new Yu-Gi-Oh ban list post the World Championship tournament, we always have a deck that's powerful, looking at you, Zodiac, that dodges the ban list. So with that being said, I can realistically see Sky Striker just being that deck. Reason being, the pure version, guys, let's be honest with you, while it's great, I don't really see it topping that a lot. I see a lot of mixed builds of this deck topping, i.e. the Sky Striker Trickstar variant, but a lot of the pure variants just get knocked out because the deck just, for whatever reason, combos better as a supporting engine versus being its own thing. Now, moving forward into the next format, that is, we will be getting that new Sky Striker card. It's like a Monster Reborn. I'm sorry, not a Monster Reborn, but it's like a Regeki, and it's a board wipe card for Sky Striker. So I'm looking forward to hopefully Sky Striker stuff going down. Looking at you, Engage, so I can pick the deck up. But I think Sky Strikers as a whole, just based on their power level and where they're at, would dodge the ban list. If anything, they might get a slap on the wrist. Engage might go down to 1 because one could argue Engage, all you have to do is just run 3 of those in a deck with a bunch of spells, and you can just use that as a way to draw cards and to shift your deck, kind of similar to how people used to use things like Upstart Goblin back in the day. With that being said, when you really think about it, I don't think Sky Striker is going to get touched in the next ban list. I think they're going to dodge it, and that'll probably be one of the decks being very powerful going into January 2019, and then possibly getting hit around that time, depending on how the format shapes up. I mean, you can't really predict Yu-Gi-Oh that much nowadays anyway. Next up, finally getting Stratos back, number 3. So, once again, the next Yu-Gi-Oh ban list probably is not around the corner just yet. I would assume we're probably going to get it within the next month or 2. So this prediction is kind of early. Expect more ban list videos to come. I think we might get Elemental Hero Stratos back off of the ban list finally. Reason being, Konami, based on what I'm seeing online, is definitely trying to promote the hero archetype. They have been giving a lot of support to Neo-Spacians. Well, not necessarily yet, but the new 10 that's going to come out in August is going to be having a lot of the new cards. They have a new fusion spell card, and they're going to have their new fusion card that's a Neospatian / hero card. So I'm thinking it may be a contact fusion where you need a Neospatian and a hero monster to make it, and it's supposed to have some crazy effect according to Konami in their article. They have not leaked anything just yet. So with that being said, what's better not to promote their 10s other than giving us Stratos back and making the hero player hype? Now, this is tricky because for whatever reason in the TCG, Konami has kept Stratos on the ban list regardless of decks like Teller Knights, Pendulum decks in general when they had Joker at 3, having their own version of Stratos. People argue that heroes don't need Stratos because that would be too powerful. I beg to differ. The OCG has Stratos currently at 2, and the deck barely does anything. It takes a really skilled player to pilot the deck and play the deck correctly, so it's not like a deck you can just pick up and play because you have Darklaw. There's a lot of intricacies that goes into the hero deck, which is why it's a fan favorite. So I definitely can see, based on common sense and a good business practice, Konami unbanning Stratos just because they have the new 10 coming out. Heroes is getting a lot of support because it was a legacy fan favorite archetype, and it just makes sense overall for Konami to promote that new 10, give us Stratos back, allows players to get hype, see how it does, and if anything works kind of worse, the deck probably won't do anything unless the Neospatian stuff is too powerful. Then they might just slap Stratos back on the wrist and ban them again. But who knows? Only time will tell. Number 2, Galki gets a slap on the wrist. Now, me being out of Yu-Gi-Oh for the past pretty much month and a half, 2 months now, I really don't know much about the Galki deck. My knowledge goes up to Trickstars, Pendulum Magicians, Sky Striker, Trickster, Sky Striker, etc. Galki was always relevant, but it hasn't been as relevant as it has been over the past few events. It won the North American WCQ 2018 and also won the WCQ for Europe in 2018. So with that being said, the deck is clearly powerful, and the deck was highly underrated as a sleeper deck going to these events. Now, some people may argue that the reason why it's doing well is because of, ironically speaking, the Neospatian Aqua Dolphin card, which is amazing tech that the guy, I believe, who won the North American WCQ used. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, where pretty much you can play him, use his effect, look at your opponent's hand, get rid of their hand traps, and combo off your plays. It can accelerate you a huge advantage over the opponent going into the game 2 and 3, because if you can stop their hand traps, it's pretty much GG no re. It's not like these hand traps are like Max C, where you can just activate it on a summon, and if your opponent tries to special summon, they're SOL because you Aqua Dolphin their hand trap, or you couldn't Aqua Dolphin the Max C, and they're just stuck there with the sad face looking crazy. So I think the slap on the wrist the Galki deck will get, which is probably won't be a slap on the wrist, and it can be an equal hit across the board for all Link decks, is a Firewall Dragon ban. Now, will this happen? More than likely not, but hopefully Konami can hit us with an errata. Let's face the fact, Firewall Dragon is very powerful. The card needs to be banned, and or the errata to say once per turn for the hand effect where he special summons monsters out of the hand. Now, I know people are saying Firewall Dragon's a TV show card. Chris, that is never going to happen. But with that being said, that does not discount the fact that the game, the actual physical card game, should be 10 times different than the actual anime. And be realistically speaking, what kid in 2018 watches the Yu-Gi-Oh anime? Very few, if not any. I have 2 nephews who are into anime and they like Yu-Gi-Oh, but they don't even watch the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. My son tried watching the OG Yu-Gi-Oh, and after a while it got boring to him. So kids nowadays, they're all about their Fortnite. They're not watching Yu-Gi-Oh. So with that being said, you can go ahead and ban Firewall Dragon. No one will care, Konami. You guys will still make profit because the anime fans and the TCG fans are completely separate. So there's no reason why, because it's the TV show favorite card, that it should not be on the ban list, or at least errata, so it won't be that powerful. And decks like Galki, abusing it shouldn't happen, because realistically speaking, Firewall Dragon is just an unbalanced. It is just a what's the word I'm looking for? It is a mistake of a card. It's a card that pretty much was made too powerful on accident, if that makes sense. And last but not least, something I think is likely to happen on the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list. Number 1, Max C makes a comeback. Now, this more than likely probably won't happen, right? Max C is a card that's out in the OCG. I believe it's at 3, because almost every deck I see in the OCG runs the card at 3. And with that being said, for good reason, the OCGs, I believe they limited Max C to 2 or 1 at one point. Then they brought it back up because they saw the problem that was the link decks that spam to the field. A great example are Spirals. Spirals is a deck that spit monsters to the board and can extra link using the Nightmare Engine. And they still can do that, but they just cannot do it as fast and as swift as the Galki deck can, which is why Galki has been winning these huge major events. So I think to circumvent that, if Konami doesn't want to ban Firewall Dragon, from a business standpoint and from a healthy game state standpoint, giving us Max C back at 3, especially since it's an easily accessible card, can just help out a lot of players. And I'm just gonna be real with you guys, the same people who are gonna top are gonna top. The same people who are scrubs are gonna be scrubs. The only difference is a lot of people are gonna complain who are scrubs are gonna say you only beat me because of Max C, and the people who are good who lose, the people who they think are scrubs are gonna say you only beat me because you open Max C. Everyone's gonna complain about the same reason, but at the same time, I think Max C, due to the state of the game, is a healthy comeback. No, I do not think Max C is a healthy card, because I believe it is very powerful and it does hinder decks. For example, my favorite deck, Mass Heroes, from just going off, because the deck, when the deck goes off, is good, but it's not overpowered. But it checks decks like Galki and Sky Strikers from just doing what they want. So to make a healthy game state, if you want to keep the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fast, I think Max C coming off the balance would be a good touch from Konami, and I can realistically see them doing that because it's out in OCG, and their format seems to be just fine, and nothing has changed because they are still pretty much have a format that's kind of mirroring ours, where they have Goku's doing good, ABC is doing good, and etc. So with all that being said, man, this is my InnovationYGO podcast. And as a recap, I talked about 5 things likely to happen on the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list. I discussed over Max C making a comeback, Galki getting a slap on the wrist, Stratos finally making a comeback, Sky Striker not being touched at all, and Trickstars getting hit. Post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below, and tell me what do you guys think about what's going to happen on the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list. So with all that being said, man, this is InnovationYGO. Smash that like button. Let's try to get this video to 200 likes. That'd be awesome. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'm out. Peace and stay innovative. Deuces.